All right, let's open up the book of Zohar and dive into a moment that is just packed with tension and incredible mystical power. We're talking about Abraham and Sarah's journey right into the heart of Egypt. Now, on the surface, it looks like a story about fear, maybe some deception, and just trying to survive. But the Zohar peels back all those layers to show us a drama of cosmic proportions. This is a story about divine presence, about a hidden light, and a secret strategy that literally realigned the heavens. And it all kicks off with this single verse from Genesis, which the Zohar uses as a kind of portal. And it came to pass when he was close to entering Egypt. It sounds so simple, right? But for the Zohar, this is a massive signal. It's not just a change in geography, it's a fundamental shift in spiritual reality. They were walking into a domain of immense power, density, and, some serious danger. So first, let's just look at the literal story, because that's the foundation for everything that's about to unfold. Okay, so first up, we're starting with the Pashat. That's the simple, literal narrative. This is the ground floor of the whole story. A famine forces Abraham and Sarah to leave the land they were promised and go down into Egypt, which was, the superpower of the ancient world. This isn't a vacation. It's a journey straight into the heart of peril. I want you to just picture this scene for a second. Imagine that harsh, clarifying, golden light of the desert, and then it just gives way to the thick, humid, lush green of the Nile Delta. It's a world that is teeming with life, for sure, but also with spiritual forces that are completely foreign, maybe even hostile. And it's right here, at this border, that Abraham looks over at his wife Sarah, and he truly sees her. It's like he's seeing her for the first time on this trip. And she's not just beautiful, she is radiant. She's practically glowing with a light that just does not seem to belong to this world. And the Zohar is incredibly specific here. It says Abraham knew the Egyptians were shtufin bezima, which literally means drowned in lust. This wasn't just some cultural assumption. This was a prophetic insight into the spiritual state of Egypt. The danger to Sarah wasn't a maybe. It wasn't a possibility. It was an absolute certainty. In that kind of environment, her kind of extraordinary presence would be like a magnet for the most powerful and corrupting forces in that whole kingdom. And right here, this is the pivot. This simple story makes it seem like Abraham acted out of fear for his own life. But the Zohar asks a much deeper question. If he knew the danger was absolute, why on earth did he keep going? And the answer is that he saw something more. He didn't just see a beautiful woman he had to protect. He saw the very presence of God walking right beside him. And you know what? That changed absolutely everything. And that brings us to the first secret layer, Sarah's true nature. The Zohar reveals that the light Abraham saw, that just breathtaking beauty, it wasn't merely human. It was a manifestation of something transcendent that was traveling with her. So to really get this, we have to define the central concept here, the Shekhinah. In Kabbalah, the Shekhinah is the tangible, immanent presence of God, right here in our world. It's the aspect of the divine that we can actually experience, the glory of God made manifest. It's often talked about in feminine terms, the bride, the queen, the divine mother. And in this story, the Zohar tells us, Sarah became the living, breathing vessel for the Shekhinah. So how does the Zohar make this case? Well, it lays out the evidence piece by piece. First, Abraham saw the Shekhinah with her, and that is why he wasn't afraid. He had divine assurance. Second, when the Egyptians eventually found her and opened her travel box, a blinding light, a radiance like the sun, just burst out. Come on, that's not just human beauty, that's divine glory. And finally, the plagues that hit Pharaoh's house, that was direct divine intervention, the ultimate proof that the Shekhinah itself was right there with her. Okay, so this brings us to Abraham's famous, and let's be honest, kind of controversial strategy. He tells Sarah, "Say you are my sister." Now, on the surface, it looks like a lie born of fear. But in the world of the Zohar, this is a profound mystical statement. It's the key to a divine security protocol. So, let's decode it. The Zohar cracks this secret open using a key from another holy book, the Book of Proverbs. Say to Chokhmah, to wisdom, "You are my sister." Now, in Kabbalah, wisdom, or Chokhmah, is one of the absolute highest emanations of the divine. So this verse creates a direct link. The term sister suddenly becomes a code word for one's relationship with divine wisdom, with Chokhmah itself. And this just brilliantly shows you the difference. The literal meaning? It's a deception. But the mystical meaning is a declaration of an even deeper truth. The Zohar explains that the connection of wife, well, that can be severed under certain circumstances, but the bond between a sister and a brother, that comes from the same root, the same source. It's unbreakable. By calling Sarah my sister, Abraham wasn't weakening their bond. He was invoking its highest, most permanent spiritual form, their shared soul root in divine wisdom. To put this in modern terms, think of it like this. Sarah's true identity, her connection to the Shekhinah, that was the core operating system. Infinitely powerful, but also really vulnerable. To navigate the hostile network of Egypt, Abraham couldn't just expose that core system to attack. So what did he do? He created a public-facing interface, an API, and he labeled it Sister. This identity allowed for interaction, but it prevented any unauthorized entity from getting access to the protected core. It was a brilliant act of spiritual abstraction and access control. So if Sister was the strategy, how did it actually work? To understand the mechanics, we have to go even deeper, into the level of Sod, the ultimate secret. And the Zohar explains this protection through the language of the Sefirat, the 10 fundamental energies through which the divine interacts with the world. Okay, let's break this down. As you can see, we have 3 key energies at play here. First, there's Malchut, which means kingdom. This is the Sephira of God's presence right here in our world, and it was manifesting as Sarah's radiant beauty. Next up is Tiferet, which means beauty or harmony. This one is associated with Abraham, representing his amazing ability to perceive that divine harmony in Sarah. And finally, Chakma, or wisdom. This is their shared source, the unbreakable root of their souls, which was activated by that sister connection. So what we really have here is a system of 2 identities operating at the same time. You've got the external identity, the interface, sister, which is what's revealed to the world. It's a true statement on a spiritual level, but it cleverly conceals the more immediate, dangerous reality. And that internal reality is the concealed presence of the Shekhinah, the core truth that had to be protected at all costs. But here's what's so crucial. These 2 identities are not a contradiction. Not at all. They resolve into one single unified root. Both the external presentation, sister, and the internal reality, the divine presence, emerge from the exact same ultimate source, Chokmah, divine wisdom. And it was this unity that gave Abraham's strategy all its power. It wasn't just a simple lie. It was a complex, multi-layered truth. There's another text, the Tikkun Zohar, that helps us visualize these energies as colors. So, think of pure white light as their shared source, that Chokmah. This then manifests as the royal blue of the Shekhinah's presence in Sarah. Abraham perceives all this through the balancing green light of harmony, and the entire system is wrapped in the protective black of concealment. That's the core secret that keeps all this holiness safe from the outside world. I know, this is incredibly abstract stuff. So let's translate this ancient mystical blueprint into some modern analogies, just to really help us grasp the absolute genius of the strategy that's at play here. I mean, this maps perfectly onto a high-stakes RPG, right? Imagine you have a character who is the Oracle. She holds the key to the entire game. She's a being of immense power. Now, if you walk her into the enemy's capital city with Oracle floating over her head, she's going to be targeted instantly. So, what do? You change her status to commoner. You give her a public interface that lets her move through that hostile zone without attracting all the wrong kind of attention, protecting her true power until the critical moment she needs to reveal it. Or for a more technical parallel, think of it like cosmic engineering or secure system design. You have a highly sensitive core process, that's the Shekhinah. You need it to operate within an unsecured, hostile environment, that's Egypt. The solution is abstraction. You mask the core process behind a stable, alternate interface, the sister identity. This interface can handle external requests, but it has strict access controls that prevent anything from corrupting the core process. It's a perfect design for ensuring mission-critical functionality in a high-risk deployment. So, after journeying through the literal story, the hidden radiance, the mystical strategy, and the cosmic blueprint, what is the ultimate wisdom that we bring home from this descent into Egypt? What does this all mean for us, right here, right now? We come full circle, right back to the words of the Zohar itself. This one sentence, it contains the entire journey. Abraham's vision wasn't about fear, it was about faith. He saw the divine presence. His strategy wasn't a deception, it was an act of reliance on that presence. He trusted the Shekhinah, and because he trusted it, he was given the wisdom, the Chokmah, to invoke the sister connection and create the perfect spiritual protection for their mission. And that leaves us with a final question. Because this isn't just some ancient story. It's a blueprint for navigating our own personal Egypts, our own places of challenge and spiritual danger. The question is, what is the hidden divinity, the spark of the Shekhinah that is present in the people and circumstances of your life, that is just waiting for you to see it, to recognize it, and to rely upon its power? Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We really hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.